this is May and welcome back to my channel for a brand new speed build. So today I'm building a tattoo parlor with an apartment in Willow Creek as part of the save file I'm currently working on. As always, I do have a playlist up on my channel with all the builds I've done so far, so if you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to do so after this video. For today's build, I am using the Businesses and Hobbies pack. So we're going to have a functional tattoo parlor at the first floor here called the Rusted Needle, and then we'll have a cheaper looking apartment on top where the owner Maddox Abega will be living along with his roommate and colleague Kimiko Ishii, and I can't wait to share more about them in a moment because I really love how they look especially. But before that, I would like to talk a bit more about this whole build. It is located along the commercial strip here in Willow Creek, and this is actually my second take at the builds here because, believe it or not, it used to look different a couple of months back, but I decided to take it all away and restart now that we have the Businesses and Hobbies pack. And I feel like that pack, it just works really well for community lots and for, of course, businesses, because that's what the pack is mostly about. And with that pack, we have gotten tattooing and pottery making as skills and hobbies that can be turned into careers as well. I would have loved to see more hobbies in the pack, to be honest, because judging by the title of the pack, you would think there would have been more, but yeah, we have at least gotten tattooing and pottery making with this one. And of course, I wanted to make some tattoo artists for my save file as well, and I wanted to include a bit of a more industrial looking build here along the commercial strip. So yeah, so far it's a bit of a mix of styles, I would say. So next to this one, there is going to be two buildings on one lot, so two shops next to each other. And that's going to be a florist shop and a coffee shop with a 2-floor apartment above it. That's going to be owned by the Goth family, because in my save file, Bella Goth is going to be a florist or botanist, I think the branch might be called. So yeah, she's doing flowers, like flower arranging and stuff like that. She's, yeah, in the gardening career at least. And I thought it would be fun to make her a shop here in Willow Creek as well, and that the family could have a separate apartment downtown if they would like to get out of their house. And I'm pretty happy that I was able to make a florist shop for Bella Goth as well, because when I made their home like last year, I had an idea of making her a florist shop, but I never really had the space for it. And now with this pack, I really wanted to make it happen. So I'm glad I've been able to get started on that one. And next to that, I've already made a vet clinic, but I have actually started renovating it now with the new pack as well. So just to make it look better with the rest of the builds that we have going on here. And then lastly, there will be more of like a modern art gallery that's going to be owned by Alice Spencer Kim Lewis, who is now a painter and artist in the save. So that's going to be on the like larger lot that you will find along this street. And none of those are 100% done yet, but I feel like it's easier to start all the shells and kind of see how they all look together before I commit to a certain build, if that makes sense. And I especially feel that's more important for the community lots I'm making, because I don't want to make them look the same, obviously, but it's nice to see if they look good together regardless. And there's definitely going to be a mix of different styles along this street. And yeah, I thought that the tattoo parlor here would have more of an industrial look with the brick walls. I also put some of the garage murals on the side of the build here to make it look like it could have been used as a warehouse or something similar as well, like earlier before the tattoo parlor was made. And I thought the garage doors were a nice extra detail to the build, plus you can actually do graffiti on them, so it could look even more of an older build or more of a lived-in build with that one, if you will. I did add some stains and cracks on the wall here and there for the realism and, you know, that older look and feel as well. I'm using the new windows coming with the Business and Hobbies pack, and at this moment I am just obsessed with using them, especially for these types of builds, like more of of these like downtown commercial builds. And the entry to the second floor will be on the exterior here, so it won't be on the inside. I added a staircase on the side of the building here, so you don't have to go through the tattoo parlor to get to the apartment part of it. I thought that seemed, I don't know, maybe more realistic in a way. As for the landscaping for this build, I did go pretty simple, I would say. I've started doing that more recently, that I use less greenery and flowers and all, because I feel like at times, like at least when I do it, it can look a bit crowded or like there's too much going on if I put too much. So instead I've just put some trees here and there, and we've got a fenced in backyard where at the beginning I didn't really know what to do about it. So in the end I just put in like a fire pit with some plastic chairs surrounding it. There is going to be a ping pong table and just like a simple bench. I also did add in some trash here and there. It's in no way an immaculate looking build, and I do quite like that. For the roofing here, I did a flat roof, but at the front and the back, I used half walls to make it look like this gradually raising roof in a way. Yeah, to make it look less flat, to be honest, and make it look a bit more interesting as well. And it gave me more space to add in those wall lights above the windows, which I see a lot of in pictures on Pinterest actually. They're very similar to these bowling night lamps actually, so they were perfect for this type of build. The brick and stone walls I'm using here are both from the new pack, along with awnings at the front of the build here. I love that the awnings have two versions, so one with those little string lights and one version without them. And I decided to go for the one without the lights for this tattoo parlor. I thought that fit the vibe a bit better. And I can say I absolutely love the green metallic benches out here at the front of the build. The one with the pizza ads on them. I know that they come with a lot of different ads on them, but my favorite is definitely this one with the pizza on it. And I think that is a default swatch as well. And I don't know why I like that one the best, but I just do. The apartment upstairs is going to have its own balcony as well. It turned out rather spacious, I would say. So I did fit in a small grill. There's this like busking item from City Living that can be used to play guitar and such. I added a small table outside there along with the juice keg that came with the Discover University pack. So all of that kind of crammed together there. I thought it would be fun to do like a covered area for selling clothes, like most likely thrifted clothing, I would say. So there might be some regular sellers setting up their shop here. And that part wouldn't be functional per se, but just for the sake of realism and some details, I wanted to add something extra to the outside. Otherwise, I think it would have looked rather empty. It might still do that, to be honest. So there's a chance I'll maybe add some other small details later on before the save file is published. You never know. I'll probably go through a lot of the builds and just do a few tweaks here and there. So there is already some progress since the tour video I did just a few weeks ago. I think, yeah, at this point it has been a couple of weeks. And I'm really happy to be able to share new builds that will be added to the save file, of course. The inside of the tattoo parlor is a fun one. I found some reference photos on Google actually to try and get a feeling of how the inside of a tattoo parlor is like, because I've never been to one in real life. I've never gotten a tattoo, but I used to have a phase as a kid or teen maybe watching those tattooing reality shows, I guess you can call them. So I had a bit of an idea of how I wanted it to look, but it's always nice to kind of like refresh your memory or just look for new inspiration for a build. And I did decorate the inside of this build over on twitch.tv/honeymaysims, by the way, where I stream weekly. And I had this sort of brainstorming session with my viewers over there as well. And that's how I ended up with the black and white checkered flooring. I thought that was a bit of like a fancy, bold flooring maybe. And I mixed it with this new concrete wall that's very red, I realized. So I did add some accent walls. I brought in the brick and stone from the exterior to make it look less red, to be honest, because it was a lot at one point. Like all the walls were just red. Some of the stains and cracks from the outside I bring in as well, because even if we have the floor and the red walls here, I still want it to look industrial or maybe a bit grungy, if that makes sense. But regardless, I think there will be a nice mix of fancy and, yeah, that industrial look and feel, I guess. We also talked about the use of space in a tattoo parlor like this, in which we came to the conclusion that most tattoo parlors people had been to were like very open floor plan wise versus the more closed in rooms. So I tried to replicate that area open space here, but instead I used this divider from Discover University to separate the space a bit still, so that the working areas where the tattooing tables are more private without really needing those big walls, you know? So that's why there's a lot of dividers in here. I wanted a reception area, so that's where people can sit and wait for their appointment, and it's where the counters are with the cash register as well, which by the way, it won't be functional for this one. I don't think I added a ticket kiosk machine in here either, because last time I played with a sim doing tattoos, they didn't need it to get paid, but you could always add it in if there are like any other additional activities you would like to add. And behind the cash register area, I put in some of the Crystal Creations display shelves, and I just added in some supplies like ink bottles and so on in those. And above it, I wanted a lot of artwork, ideally. I spent some time with my sim Maddox using the digital sketchpad making tattoo designs just so that I could put them up on the wall here, because I still had early access of the pack at this point and no one else had uploaded those tattoo designs to the gallery yet. Otherwise I would have just done that, but I did spend some time making those sketches just to put them on the wall. The designs weren't that different from each other every time I made one, so yeah, but eventually I ended up with some that I liked and I displayed them on the wall here along with some other pieces and like a mirror and stuff like that. I even sized down a basketball hoop to make it look like one of those miniature ones, I guess, and hung it on the wall here. I sized down some of the debug basketballs as well. That won't be functional from my understanding, but it was just like a fun, more realistic detail, I guess, because Maddox is also going to be a bit into basketball, so it kind of made sense to add it. So yeah, as I said earlier, the two Sims who will be working and living on this lot is Maddox Abega and Kimiko Ishii. So first off, here we have Maddox. He's the owner of the Rusted Needle, what I decided to name the tattoo parlor here. It has a bit of an industrial twist to it, like the name, and definitely not a literal name, like do not get tattooed by a rusty needle. But yeah, I love the hair from Discover University that he's got, and like the dip dye as well, I would assume you can call it. I think it just adds some character to him, as well as his red square glasses and his piercings. So he's quite colorful and I love that about him. And I'm using one of the new base game beards, I do believe it is, on him. So this beard had totally gone over my head, but I randomly found it one day and it works so well on Maddox here. So he's got this blue and yellow basketball tee on and just some shorts, so very like laid back, relaxed kind of look. And it's quite rare that I use them, but I thought it would be fun to add the longer colorful socks from Get Famous on him. So yeah, I like the overall look of him. And then we have Kimiko, who is the roommate and friend living upstairs with Maddox, and she's also a tattoo artist because she also works at the tattoo parlor. Again, I love her look. I'm using the new hair from Businesses and Hobbies in the dark blue color. The way it's styled in the front is very 90s, 20s in my opinion, like very vintage, and that kind of inspires the rest of Kimiko's look, along with the pinup girl or model tattoo from base game that she is going to be having on her arm. So there's a mix of different decades here, definitely. She's inspired by more vintage, retro fashion. So she's going to have these full red lips, a thick winged eyeliner and some thinner eyebrows as well. There's a new neckerchief, I think it's called, in the pack as well that works really well with this whole vintage style. So I used the black and white polka dot swatch. I think that works really well on her. And yeah, she's got a lot more colorful tattoos on her. And for the first time, I've used the colorful floral tattoo from Lovestruck on her back as well. She is wearing a smaller top just to kind of like show off her tattoos. And then the pants are quite long. So this one is a new one from the Businesses and Hobbies pack as well. But yeah, I find it so much fun to make some of these more eccentric, unique looking Sims. And I hope I was able to catch that feeling with both Kimiko and Maddox here. And we'll see more of their apartment in a moment here because I'm still working on the tattoo parlor. I have decorated each their working areas. They are quite similar. I tried to do another one of those like artwork walls for one of them closest to the entryway here. And I forgot to say the reason why I wanted to have those earlier, like the wall with artwork and everything, is because when I was looking at inspiration photos, a lot of the tattoo parlors had lots of artworks on their walls, like entirely covered the walls in artwork basically. So I wanted to kind of replicate the same feeling even if I didn't overdo it. And another fun thing I added to the one wall here is this bike frame piece, which is a new collectible. You can actually fish out of the canal in Nordhaven, the new world coming with the Businesses and Hobbies pack. So I found one of those bike frames in the Diba catalog, and I just put it up on the wall there along with the tattoo designs. And I'm just using like a lot of new items from that pack, like the tattooing stuff. I've added in a little snack area for the customers and employees as well. So there's a vending machine in there along with a coffee machine. There is of course going to be a restroom here, and it has like a lot of these black and gold items, which I thought looked really fancy to be honest, but I paired it with some of the stains and cracks again on the walls. And one of the mirrors from Lovestruck has all of these Polaroid pictures stuck to it, which I quite like. I like that detail and that there are actually two versions of that mirror, the one with pictures and one without it. And the last rooms in the tattoo parlor are meant for the employees, like for taking breaks and for having a more private, quiet space for working on tattoo designs, because that's also one thing I remember seeing in those tattooing reality shows. They would just very often have a drawing room or something similar. So again, I wanted to replicate that in my build here too. And then we're on to the apartment upstairs where Maddox and Kimiko are going to live. So this one is going to look quite different from the tattoo parlor. Definitely less fancy and more cheaper looking, more industrial with like lots of the brick walls and stains and cracks and the weathered floorboards as well. So I'm using the flooring from Jungle Adventure in here, which is one of my favorites to use for this type of build. The first bedroom I'm making here is for Kimiko. It's not the biggest bedroom at all, but I managed to fit in one of these double beds. And the one I'm using is in the digital content pack thing you could get from ordering Lovestruck early before a certain date. So if you don't have that, this bed won't be included sadly. However, you can always add in a replacement bed in that place. Just make sure to turn on the bb.move objects on cheat. I just quite like that bed. It definitely suits the style I wanted to go for here. And the bedroom color-wise is kind of toned down if you're comparing it to how colorful Kimiko is. But sometimes it's just like that, you know? You might not be able to afford the style you like, or you don't have the space for it. You might not have your own space for it. So she's more like just crashing there for now. At least I was able to include this older looking yellow hallway table, and I believe that one is from the Paranormal stuff pack. And on top of it, just some makeup, jewelry, that kind of stuff. There is the wooden hand that's on the table as well, and I imagine she would use it for storing her rings, which I've actually seen people do in real life as well, like using that type of hand for, you know, putting the rings on it. If we're moving on to Maddox's bedroom, his is more on the bluer side, so I found the debug bed from Eco Lifestyle that fit the color on the wall here perfectly. And I thought, again, it could be a fun detail to add some graffiti on that one wall in there. So I've used the one from the Lovestruck pack that's quite colorful, and we've got some of these suitcases that make up a nightstand or end table. This one is from City Living, so maybe he's just never gotten around to getting a nightstand, and instead he's just using some of his suitcases. I thought that was kind of fun. And his bedroom is more cluttered than any of the other rooms here. There is this dresser, there's some shoe boxes, another box for like storing items. Like, he still hasn't unpacked all of his stuff, I feel like. There are different kinds of posters on the walls, there's a chair and some tattooing equipment, which I do have to say, I add the tattooing clutter item quite a bit in this apartment. There's like one in Kimiko's bedroom too, one here in Maddox's bedroom, and I think I even did one in the living room as well. So I feel like they just got their stuff lying around everywhere basically. But I did also make an office or art room for them up here, which has an easel so that they can practice their painting skill with that too. And I was a bit hesitant to add this at first because it seems kind of unrealistic, but I did eventually add another one of the like garage doors that you can spray paint on. The same one that I put outside. Originally, I wanted to add the basic empty mural one with just like the tape around the edges and you can spray paint on it. But that one was too big for this room and the garage door fit perfectly, so I just had to add it in here as a replacement. So yeah, I thought it was a fun detail regardless. The rug I'm using below the easel and all that with the paint stains is from City Living, by the way, if you're wondering. I know that there are some other like paint stains that you can add from one of the kits, the artist studio one I believe, but I'm not using any kits for my save file, so instead I ended up with the City Living one. It's not one of my favorite things ever, but it works. And other than that, just a desk and the cheapest laptop I could find, and yeah, pretty simple. Same goes for the kitchen, dining, and living room. I'm bringing in some of that really nice dark green concrete on the walls here. I absolutely love that kind of green color, especially in combination with golden accents. It could be a very fancy color scheme, but that's not exactly the vibe we're going for here. I think I used one of the cheaper counters and cabinets for the kitchen, perhaps the ones from City Living, I think, unless my memory is like failing me here. But yeah, the black counters and cabinets. And in the middle of the kitchen here, there will be a kind of tall table to which you would need to add the bar stools actually. So I used these bar stools from Get Together that actually has a quite similar dark green color on the fabric as the walls here. And then just some kind of crown graphic on it, I believe. Yeah, I kind of feel like they would have just have some furniture from here and there, mixing and matching. I don't think I've ever used these curtains before, by the way, the ones by the window and like the door out to the balcony. But I think they're from Lovestruck. It's like a beaded curtain with different colorful swatches. But I decided to go for more of a neutral creamy color, and I love them here in this space. Other than that, I'm just finishing up the build here and we'll soon head into the screenshots. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content in the future. If you want to be notified of when I upload a video next, make sure to click the bell icon too. This build is playtested and up on my gallery. My ID is honeymaysims, or you can find me with the hashtag honeymaysims as well. You can also find the tray files in the description. So thank you all so much for hanging out with me today as we made this tattoo parlor and apartment, and I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye!